What's going on, guys? Hope all is well. So, I wanted to talk about how to master money in your 20s and 30s. And I thought about these ages because these ages are very important. I thought about it from a time aspect because when you are building wealth and you're trying to, do things right now in the long term while you're in the 20s and 30s, these decisions that you make are going to impact you for your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s. So these ages are very important because you don't want to put yourself behind the eight ball. You don't want to do things or make decisions in these ages that's going to really cause you to regret it when you're in your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s. And these years are critical years because these are years where you are really planting seeds. You're really doing things that's going to cause you to prosper in the future. So it's very important to make the right decisions. And I want to talk about two things that I believe that could be really critical during these ages. So the first thing is debt. The first thing is not to put yourself in a situation to where you are getting in a lot of debt. And I thought about it, especially when you are in your 20s. You graduate college or possibly you are in a trade and you're young, right? You have your own place and you may have, had financial education or you may not have had financial education, but it's going to be a lot of, temptation out there. You're going to start getting, credit card letters in the mail. You're going to start getting just notices about applying for this, applying for that. And it's so easy to get tempted into doing it. And that's where it starts. You're going to have temptation to, if you have that first big job, to get a car or, get that nice car or maybe buy a big house. So it's going to be a lot of temptation, but it's very important to make the right decisions. And so the first thing I would say is minimize that. Don't go out and be opening all these different credit cards and say, I have time to pay it off. I have time to do this. Because what happens is it can be like an avalanche, I would say. You open this credit card and you do this, you do that. You add this on, and before you know it, it's a story that a lot of people have seen. You have this amount of debt and it kind of piles up on you. So it's very important to not get into debt and be able to be wise with your money. If you can't afford it with cash, don't do it. If you want something that's really something that you want, then you need to be able to have a plan for it. You need to be able to save up for it. Have a plan of saving money to be able to buy that purchase instead of just kind of going all in and just using your credit card for trips, using your credit card for vacations, using credit card for expensive food. So it's very important to, when you are in your 20s, your 30s, think long term. Don't think about, hey, I'm gonna use this debt right now, I'm gonna pay it back soon, but just don't do it. You have the habit of using cash, have the habit of planning for big purchases and staying out of debt, because when you are getting in debt, you're taking away your buying power and you are essentially a portion of your income every month is going to go back to buying debt instead of you using that money to save or using that money to invest. So minimize debt. And the second thing I would say is invest early, because time is a very important factor when it comes to investing. The earlier you start, the better you can be able to invest and have a large nest egg of money. I saw a stat where, someone, start investing in their 20s, by the time they're in the 60s, if you start investing maybe I think like $100 a month, then you will have well over $1 million if you just simply, invest in a, S&P 500 index fund. Simple as that. But it's very important that you start early. It's very important that you not wait till you are, in your 40s or, late 30s, 40s, 50s to get started investing. But as soon as you can, as soon as you are in your 20s, you should be investing. You should be putting some money back every month in an index fund or into quality stocks to be able to start building wealth. And don't sell. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're constantly selling and using that money for something else. But being able to put that money in the market and let it work, because time is very important. Time is very important. They state that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. When you put your money in the stock market and you do it early, it just builds up. It compounds over time, but you must let it work. You can't just not do it, or you can't just put your money in the market and then take it out. You must give it time for capital gains and dividends to actually grow. So, two things to look at: stay out of debt, and number two, invest early, invest often, and then you will definitely see the benefits or see the fruit of it when you are older. But it starts with good habits. It starts with doing the right thing. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope this really blesses you guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know what things that you guys are doing, especially for you guys who are in your 20s and 30s and even older. What things that you did when you were in your 20s and 30s, or anything that you can add. So let me know in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I appreciate you guys watching the video. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.